Okay, welcome back. I hope you are all ready for another video throughout which my cat will probably scream the whole time because he's been screaming for the past 5 minutes. As you might be able to see, it is not the right weather for a heavy red wine. So we are going to talk about Saperavi. I wouldn't necessarily drink it. It was supposed to be like overcast and cloudy and rainy today, and instead I'm sunburned. So, these things happen. Let's move on to what we're actually learning about, which is Georgian wines. So, Georgian wines, and by Georgia, I mean the country, not the state in the United States. So here are a couple pictures of vineyards I believe these are both from Kakheti, which is in eastern Georgia. Of note, I do not speak this language, or I can't even really read it. So anything I mispronounce, I'm so sorry in advance. All right. So what we will probably talk about, we'll see if I maybe, get distracted during moments and add things like I always do. So where is Georgia, the country? Some cool climate and geographic facts about Georgia, a brief history of Georgia and its winemaking, specifically the Kfevri, which is what most people, I think, know about Georgian wine, if they know anything. The most common, or at least the most commonly exported types of Georgian wine, Supra and traditions, some pairings, and then of course a little summary of what we talked about and a preview of next time. So I'm actually taking this picture. Did we use Google Earth last time? No, we used Google Maps. So I'm taking this picture from Google Earth to kind of show you where we are in terms of latitude, particularly compared to where we were. So we weren't on the 45 North line. I'm just using that because we could talk all day about like Mercator and projections and how you do the rum lines, and you would probably be bored to tears unless you're super into maps, in which case we can talk offline about that. So I will be dragging this line down to where we were, which was, of course, just below Florence. And then if you follow the yellow line from your left over to right, I kind of drew a really sketchy red outline of where Georgia is, and you can see it is significantly south of where we just were. So we are getting closer to the equator. We are getting much warmer. Hopefully this is approximately what I just had on the PowerPoint. And we are specifically, I'm going to put in Farelli, which is where the AOC, where I got today's wine. Okay, and now it's going to do this cool zooming in thing. Go, Google Earth, go. Okay, so this is the specific AOC. I'd like to take this away where we will be getting today's wine. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. You can still see these latitude lines. So we're basically on the 42 north. Here's Farelli that I was talking about. We'll go back over here. Tbilisi is or Tbilisi, again, the pronunciation, that's the capital. So we're coming much east of that. And then I think Kakheti is considered kind of the like the wine growing region that a lot of people know about. All right, so just slightly south of where we just were. So let's go back to Carelli. And we'll zoom in a little bit and you'll be able to see some of the influences here. So, I mean, we have lots and lots of green here, some plains over here, obviously divided up. This looks like it's this looks like it's some pretty topographical altitude here, all over here. It's so green. This is so pretty. So this just kind of gives you an idea of where we are getting these specific grapes, and in general, kind of the wine growing region, which we will look at more in just a minute, going back to the PowerPoint. Okay, back to the PowerPoint is this lovely visual and of course we can go back and you can see George is outlined in red, same shape. This is kind of the wine growing regions of the whole country. Shout out to wine enthusiasts. This is an absolutely beautiful map. And you can see, I'm going to do that every time, Kakheti, which is where a lot of the Saperavi comes from. It's where this one came from, etc. and so forth. Okay. All right, so these are a couple headlines. They're a little teasing. We'll talk about the Kfevri, and then we'll come back to this world's oldest wine found in 8,000-year-old jars in Georgia. Jars is a loose term. And then that actually came from a much more scientific sounding article, Early Neolithic Wine of Georgia in the South Caucasus. So very cool, getting there. All right, Kvevari, which I've written in both anglicized versions and Georgian, which obviously like I can't actually read. So these are the pictures. Kvevari are basically these enormous clay pots. They are not amphorae, that's different. Those stay out of the ground. These go in the ground. So these huge clay pots, they line them with beeswax, which is kind of like, it's an antiseptic and it also basically prevents the leaks. So awesome, awesome. This picture right here will kind of get into how you do the Kvevari winemaking in just a second. I want to show you one or a couple more pictures. So they do go in the ground. And then here you can see someone who's probably doing like, I mean, this is from a museum. This is the cap management. So the ripe grapes are picked from the vineyards. They're taken to the winery. They're stomped traditionally by foot and put into the Kvevari in the ground. Now you have maybe like, they'll leave about 15 to 20% room at the top, which we know when the grapes start to ferment, obviously they release carbon dioxide. So it's all natural yeasts. They don't add anything to it. They just throw crushed grapes, stems, pips, skins, everything goes in this big clay pot. It naturally ferments for a couple weeks, probably some cap management like you would see here. And then it is basically sealed shut and given like 1 to 5 months to kind of age in the Kvevari itself. I believe the reds are shorter and the whites are longer. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure we will do another Georgia because just the wines coming from here are so cool. Once it's gone through those 1 to 5 months, they'll take it out, bottle it, sell it. It's awesome. All right. Now, okay, so the first headline came from this article from BBC. Obviously, everything's going to be linked in the video description. So scientists say there have been these 8,000-year-old pottery fragments that reveal the earliest evidence of grape wine making. So cool, 8,000 years. The earthenware jars containing residual wine compounds were found in the capital, Tbilisi, and I don't remember what the other place was, or south of the capital. I don't remember what the two places specifically were. I'll try to find out, put it in the video description. I thought this was fun. Some of the jars wore images of grape clusters and a man dancing. Sure, why not? Kind of, actually sneak peek to the supra we will talk about. Before this discovery, the earliest evidence of winemaking was 7,000 years ago and in northwestern Iran. But now it is starting to look like there's a distinct possibility that Georgia is the home of winemaking, which is so cool. It just blows my mind. I'm super excited. Georgian wines are awesome. Now, if we look at the original article from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, I'm not going to read this aloud to you. I will link it in the description. But basically, they did chemical analysis of the compounds that were absorbed into pottery because, of course, pottery is very porous and absorbs things. And it seems like it is the correct archaeological evidence for winemaking and viniculture. And then I really liked the second paragraph that may have been actually first in the article. I don't remember. Wine is central to civilization as we know it in the West, as medicine, social lubricant, mind-altering substance, and highly valued commodity. So it just is part of the nerd vine family. I thought that was kind of a fun little note. And then if you want to read the article, obviously, you can use the link. Grapes of Georgia. There are hundreds. I think, actually I have it. There are 500 indigenous grapes and 40 of them are used for winemaking. We're going to talk about 3 of them because 3 of them make up 90% of the production. So Riccazzatelli, which is delicious. It's a white wine, or it's a white grape, makes white wine. You will typically get like green apple and mineral, I think are the main characteristics. And then you can also get lime, pineapple, fennel. I had one, I actually took it to Christmas, and it was very lime forward. So it's kind of nice for people who are branching away from the main white varieties. It's fruity without being sweet. And I just honestly just go get some. It's delicious. It's going to be high acid, medium alcohol, medium minus body. And then if you do skin contact, which I think we still need to make a video about orange wine, you can get some sweeter, earthier qualities to these. Now, Mutzwein, which I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce it, That is also minerally, but more on the citrus family for your flavor profile. You can also get melon, specifically cantaloupe, so the orangey melon, pineapple, pear, and some floral notes, which is really nice. High acid, medium alcohol, but it can be high sometimes. Some of it is bottled at 14%, which is pretty intense. Medium minus body still though, and it is frequently blended. So I found a list of Muscadel's that's just pure, but I see it most often blended. Then the red wine, sorry, Muscadine is also white. Hopefully that was obvious from the flavor profile. The primary red wine that makes up about 30 to 33% of the production out of Georgia is Saperavi. You're going to get berry, bramble, and pepper as your primaries, and you can get licorice, or it may express as anise, and some gamey notes to it. It's high acid, high tannin, medium alcohol, medium plus to full body. It is a big wine, which is why I'm saying that on this super sunny hot day where I was in the pool, maybe not my best choice, but here we are. It's also, fun fact, the name Saperavi translates to paint or dye, and we will look at that when we drink the wine. Everything else, like I said, 500 indigenous grapes, 40 years for winemaking. They do use some European grapes like your Cab Sauv, your Merlots, but I'm focusing on the native grapes. Some of the whites, just bear with me, are going to be Chinuri, Kisi, Sitska, and Solukuri, and then some of your reds are going to be Aladasturi, Alexandruli, Chkavri, I think, Zels, you know what, I'm not going to try to pronounce the rest of them. I feel like there are Georgians right now who are crying and they don't know why, but I will put some links in the video of some of the ones that are the most popular, and you can go look for them or try to get your store to order them and just give it a shot because they're so good. Okay, now this isn't exactly wine, but there are a lot of wine traditions in Georgia, and it is important to know about Supra, which literally translates to feast. But this isn't like a 3-hour feast or like a big family. This is like 12 plus hours of feasting and just an astronomical amount of dishes, and they are continually replaced. It is like a point of, and obviously I don't know any of this personally. This is from a lot of research I did, but I guess it is a point of, like, I don't know, shame, but like it's not a great look if you don't have a dish or food on the table in front of everyone. So it's going to be constant replacement, and I guess tons of bread. So like sign me up immediately. The khachapuri, which I just have a picture here, is your cheese stuffed bread. And based on all of the recipes I read, it can be just cheese, it can be cheese and herbs, but traditionally it has an egg in the middle of it. So obviously I need to try this. Now, the tamata, which is the toastmaster, that's where we get back into wine. I leaned the right way this time. So this person leads your toast and basically is like, I don't want to say the presiding authority, but they preside over the Supra as a whole. And the idea is that they're not just like toasting constantly. These are insightful and thought-provoking toasts. And while you are swirling and sniffing, you're really thinking about what the toast has been philosophically for you, what it means for the people around you, et cetera, and so forth. It's a very like introspective and philosophical ordeal, which sounds super cool. The catch is that a tamata, even drinking conservatively, may consume 3 liters of wine during a full day supra. So when choosing your tamata or your toastmaster, you have to have someone who, one, knows how they react when they drink a lot, and hopefully is like a fairly pleasant and introspective drunk. There's the joke that you can either be an angry drunk, a funny drunk, or a sad drunk. You want the ones who get a little bit quiet and thoughtful, would be my take on it. So, but I mean, you do you if you're doing a Supra. Here are some cool foods that I want to talk about for our pairings. And I was going to have descriptions ready. I meant to put more information on this slide, but you have your lobio. These are, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but these up at the top, it almost looks like they're chocolate dipped. No, that's eggplant. So that's purple on the end. So these are rolled up eggplant stuffed. The kali are walnut. They're sweeter, but they're like these walnut balls, basically. The khinkali are exactly as they look. They're dumplings or buns or however you want to call them. And then your ajap sandali is like a meaty kind of a stew. So you can see how you could have both reds and whites at the table and your different foods will pair with your different wines. So lots of options. Georgian food sounds incredible. I'm going to include a couple links about like, I think it's 20 different foods and 15 different foods, and there's shockingly little overlap because all of the food sounds incredible. All right, we have made it. So I want to do a thank you to everyone who actually watches these videos. I realize I've never shouted out to all of you who are part of the Nerdvine family. So thank you so much for being part of this family. I couldn't like cite all the pictures quite right. So wine tourism and adventure for the pictures on the main slide, Gastropedia for the faded Riccazzatelli picture on the grape slide, and Georgian Wine UK for the Saperavi picture on that same slide. Everyone who I did credit and everyone who I put in the video description, everyone who listens to me ramble on about wine in my personal life. And then, and I will pull this out more when I'm not in front of a slide. I want to shout out to my partner who made like a really big deal out of bringing me my, oh, can I seriously not get it? Aha, my WSET 3 certificate. So I officially passed WSET 3 with merit. I maybe cried a little bit when I got the certificate, and I just want to shout out to my partner who brought it upstairs and was really excited for me and listened to me be excited all night. We'll drink this in just a moment. I really want you guys to be able to see the color, so we're going to do the recap and next time and then get to the drinking. So recap, Georgian wines are super cool. It may very well be the cradle of the birth of wine. Lots of orange wines coming out of there. So if you're into the trendy orange wines, definitely check that out. Just try to get your hands on some Georgian wine, see what you can find, try it all. And also the food looks incredible, and we should definitely have a super virtually somehow. Next time, we will be talking about Gewürztraminer from, not where you think it's from. Guess where this picture is from. Leave me your guesses in the comments. I will credit this photo next time, because if I credit it, it will give away where we're having the Gewürztraminer from. So let me stop sharing and then we will drink. So in case you didn't see the certificate, really, I just want to show you guys the certificate again. I got this cool certificate that says, you know, that I passed and my name's on it. And then I also get a lapel pin, which is kind of cool. So I get this green lapel pin with the WSET logo on it. I can wear it, I guess, on my blazers when it's not 4,000 degrees outside, onto the wine, which is what you really care about. If this is what I think it is, it will be extremely dark. So let's give it a go. All right, so it's dark as I thought. I really thought it would be more purpley. But let's see if it leaves. It does leave a decent amount of color on the glass even after swirling. So that is exciting. I also think I was supposed to drink this a couple years ago, so I hope it's still good. Interesting. It smells super gamey. Oh, I meant to say the first time I had Saperavi, well, the first time was in the advent calendar, and then shockingly 2 days later I had it at a tasting event, and it was insane. Because to me it smells very savory and gamey on the nose, and then we'll see how this one is on the palate. The one I had was really fruity, so it was very like whiplashy, shocking. Yeah, same thing. Very like gamey, not maybe herbal, but like savory, not quite mushroom, but you could see it. And then somehow on the palate, I just get lots of berry, like bramble, red berries, blackberries, like so much berry. And I get a lot less of that gamey savory. So it is such a crazy wine to me that like the nose and the palate are so different. Get some Saperavi. Let me know what you think. We might do another one because I have another bottle called Le Petit Moor, and that's the first Saperavi I had. So I think it would be fun to revisit that with all of you. In the meantime, if you are also somewhere where it is like in the Northern Hemisphere and it's warm and it's becoming summer, I hope you're surviving. Drink lots of water in addition to your wine. And if that's not you, obviously, still love you. Good luck, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Cheers, and thank you for attending another video. Watching another video with me. Clearly I need more wine.